I hope everyone's been enjoying the music so far. We'll be back to it soon, but first, we get a chance to sit down with the band themselves, Gossip Bench. How are you guys doing tonight?
Hey.
Doing real good.
Good. Excellent.
Good to hear. So the name, Gossip Bench, it brings up, a specific image. Could you tell, what a gossip bench is and then what you feel like your connection to one is?
So a gossip bench is a vintage piece of furniture. It's a bench, and then there's another little bench that comes off of it, and that would be for the rotary phones to sit on. So people would sit and talk on the phone in the bench, and it became the gossip bench because people would typically gossip on the phone and just sit there for hours. As far as how it ties to us, we just kind of thought it was a cool name. It's one that nobody's used, so that's kind of major in deciding your band name. But yeah.
Solid. I will agree that it is a pretty cool name. It's not one that's going to be confused with anyone else. And, well, as for you guys, not Gossip Bench the collective, but the members of Gossip Bench, do you guys want to introduce yourselves to the people at home?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll start. I'm Crystal. I do vocals for Gossip Bench.
I'm Hannah. I do drums.
I'm Jim, and I play guitar and synthesizer.
My name is Rob, and I play the bass.
Solid. Yeah, and then I guess how long has Gossip Bench been going as, collective project?
Sorry. It's been just about a year. I think, was it April or May of last year?
Yeah, something like that.
It's
one of those two.
Yeah, it's been pretty much exactly a year since we've been fully formed.
Okay. Could you take us back to how that happened?
Yeah, so that's kind of my story, I guess. There were multiple stages to it. I guess Jim and Rob, if you want to start how you guys met.
Yeah, so Jim used to play with our former drummer. Shout out to Steve.
What's up, Steve?
They're looking for a bass player, and I kind of randomly met Steve at an outing, and he was like, we need a bass player. So we started just kind of jamming. We would just improvise. That was about 6 months, I think. And then the next part of the story happened after that, and I'll let someone else tell that.
Yeah, so Rob and I were jamming, and then I unfortunately had to get a tooth removed, but we're working on getting a replacement. But so got my tooth removed, and
it's very punk rock.
Yeah, and I took the next day off because I was in a little bit of a pain, and I went to go get my hair cut, and that is when I ran into Crystal.
Yeah.
And,
sorry, do you want me to tell it?
Sure, you can pick it up from here.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so yeah, I was cutting Jim's hair, and we were just talking about music tastes, like what do you like to listen to and all of that. And he mentioned this one band that I really liked, who also happens to be his cousin's band, and they're kind of popular. Shout out to Van Sire. But I was jokingly telling him if he ever needed a singer that I would do it for his band, and it kind of just happened. He was like, well, come to the studio tomorrow. And I did. And they led me down this really sketchy little alleyway. No lights were on. And I was like, what have I gotten myself into? But it did happen to be the real deal. And that's how I became part of Gossip Bench. And then I found, we needed a drummer at that point. So Hannah was just someone I knew back from high school days.
And the rest was history.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one time a sketchy alley actually paid off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where our studio is. It's in a sketchy alley. But the interior is very nice, though.
Yes.
So it's
Nice.
very well decorated.
Yep.
Is it as good as here, would you say?
Not quite.
It feels like home for us at Banbury, so
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
can't really compare it.
Banbury it's got its own atmosphere.
It does. There's a lot of cool bands in that studio. Actually, it's kind of a scene within a scene in the Banbury practice spaces. So we're very lucky. Actually, we've gotten a lot of opportunities through just being there and being around other people who are also practicing in those spaces. So.
Yeah, get those connections.
Mm-hmm.
You love to see it. So as far as your instruments went, there were a few changes. Jim, you went between synths and guitar. I remember that. Do any of you other guys switch out instruments at all, or you mostly just stick to your lane, as it were?
I have a synth sometimes, synth bass.
Okay.
It's been on the fritz lately, so I haven't been using it. But I think we're trying to incorporate a little bit more synth into our sets, so I'll be doing more of that in the future.
I've been sampling a little bit. My friend gifted me an iPad. Shout out Dylan, best friend ever. He just gave me an iPad for free. So I'm working on getting some samples for our sets to kind of incorporate some different sounds in.
Excellent. Yeah. I guess I was quite charmed by the sampler and your use of it in the set. Where do you find your samples? Is it like kind of environmental based? I don't know. What's your process like for that?
As of now, I haven't gathered many samples, so I feel like that's maybe a Rob question. Throw it back to him.
Yeah,
Okay.
some of them are sampled synths from Jim. Some of them are sampled synths from my synths. Most of them I make on my computer. We haven't used any like found sound yet, but I think we'll probably incorporate that in the future too. We're still kind of working on our sound. I don't know if you can tell. All our songs kind of sound different right now. But yeah, I think in the future we'll have a lot more like samples that we found in the environment and stuff like that.
Yeah. Found sound is very cool and a great use of the sampler. Have you guys been using the sampler a lot, like throughout the band's history, or is that more of a new development?
Yeah, so actually, for all the people at home, if you check out our Decadent Cabaret set, we did a beach house set, and that was very heavy on samplers and synths. So that's probably the most we've used of the samplers and synths. And, yeah.
I think that gig pushed us to kind of use the sampler
Yeah, it
because
did.
they have so many layers on their tracks. You know, we tried our best to recreate that with only 4 people.
Yeah, as best you can.
Yep.
Makes sense. You mentioned trying to find your sound. I guess as far as genre labels go, how would you describe your sound at the moment, or at least, if not the sound you have now, the one you strive to have at some point?
I think we all might have different answers for this.
Okay, well let's go around the circle.
I'm gonna say synth pop
Synth pop.
or dream pop, something like that.
Okay. Donna Crystal.
So I would probably say we're like lo-fi indie right now, but lately we've been playing around. Jim and I have kind of been drawing some inspiration for our new songs, maybe a little shoegaze incorporation. But for now, I would say we're pretty lo-fi indie.
Okay, solid.
I think I would agree with that.
Any?
Yeah, no, I mean like lo-fi dream pop at this point, but we're looking to incorporate a little more fuzz and a little more distortion
Absolutely.
moving forward.
Yeah, you got the tools for it. And you say lo-fi. I guess what does lo-fi mean to you as a performer, rather than from the production side, which I feel like is where lo-fi usually comes from.
That's an open one.
It is. I
lo-fi,
like the open questions.
I mean, I think it started initially, I was using a different synthesizer keyboard that was only 8 bits. So like that is just like inherently lo-fi, that sound. So that's one aspect of it. Production is another one though. You know, like when we do recording, we've done like mono drums, which is kind of a lo-fi thing. As well as, you know, on guitar and the synth, just kind of a washy reverb tone. It adds a lo-fi element as well.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, you use the tools that you have, you know. Trace it back from use the modern tools to make a non-modern sound. It's a cool process. We did mention influences a little bit ago, at least in the realm of beach house, and then the general sounds that you're trying to capture. As far as either listening or playing, what kind of influences do you guys try to incorporate?
I would say Beach House is definitely a big one because they're big synth users. But I personally am a big indie fan, so just how Jim and I met through Van Sire, his cousin's band. Van Sire is really cool. Draw a little bit of inspiration from stuff like that.
Check them out.
Yes, check out Van Sire. I don't know, what other inspirations do we have, you guys think?
You know, for me, for kind of what we're doing, I really like MGMT, Tame Impala. Slow Dive's a band recently I've been getting into and kind of pulling some inspiration from. My Bloody Valentine as well is another band I've been getting into.
Of course.
But that, I mean, we could go on for days. But Rob?
Yeah, all of the above. We do a lot of covers too, so we do some Tame Impala and stuff like that. So
Okay. Cover. That's usually Tame Impala. Then you said.
we're kind of all over the place, but yeah, Tame Impala, Beach House, Strokes,
Okay.
little Radiohead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Radiohead,
Yeah,
Mac
yeah.
DeMarco, Pixies. We've dibbled and dabbled in a lot of different
Yeah.
genres so far.
Across the board. As far as original material goes, what is I guess creating a new song kind of look like for you guys? Is there a solid process, or is it just kind of
Depends on the song.
Yeah.
okay? I guess lately, has it been like strict sitting down writing a song, or does it just come up naturally in jam sessions?
We've
Both,
we
for
had
sure.
at least one song that we kind of just improvised on the spot. A lot of times, Jim and Crystal write something. I've written at least one song, but yeah, usually somebody brings in some kind of structure, and we all kind of get together and
Yep.
make it happen.
Nice. It's just how you got to do it. Just how you got to do it sometimes. And as far as like do you have like strict rehearsals, or is it mostly just meeting up and jamming?
We do try to practice at least once a week. It depends on what sort of season we're in. So lately I feel like we've been in a gigging season. We've been doing a lot of different shows. So that kind of plays into practicing more, maybe a bit less writing. But now I think we're slowly moving into writing again. And we are working on recording as well. So we're kind of trying to balance practice with gigging and then also recording singles and then working towards an EP.
Okay. As far as gigs go, do you have usual venues that you like to play at, or is it?
So far, we're kind of just playing around.
Okay.
We have been to Graham Jams once, and we are going to be there again on May 3rd. So check out Graham Jams. And we just played at Mousetrap last week, and that was a really fun venue to play at.
Yep.
Nice.
We like playing at the Trap.
Mm-hmm.
Fun venue.
Yes,
Yep.
our first open mic was done at the Mousetrap, so it's kind of near and dear to us.
Very nice. And I guess what venues around Eau Claire or outside of it would you want to go to in the future? Play a set at?
Definitely looking into the Plus, also a cool venue. The venue is also coming up around Eau Claire, so that's exciting. And then maybe a Minneapolis gig sometime soon would be cool as well.
With that, though, we can move into, I guess, upcoming projects or shows or anything of the like. What do you want to plug for the people at home?
So we do have an Instagram, that's at GossipBenchEC, and then you can also find us on Facebook, just Gossip Bench. And we are working on releasing a single, so we'll be posting on all of our socials when that's coming out.
Okay, solid. And then any upcoming shows you want to shout out? Or
Yeah.
Yeah. May 3rd, Graham Jams, and May 30th, we're at the Mousetrap again, and we're really excited to be playing both of those.
good to hear. Yeah. Make sure everyone at home, make sure you check those out as well. And I guess before we close this out, do you have any extra shout outs or notes on the future? That's pretty open, so do with it what you will.
Yeah, just be on the lookout for the single and the EP. We're getting some really good recordings in, so it'll be hopefully it'll help us out in getting some bigger gigs and stuff like that. So.
Okay, yeah. Well, thanks to all of you for coming in and playing the set.
Thanks for having us.
No, it was a great time. And thanks for sitting down and talking it over. It's always a great time to talk about music. And for everyone else at home, don't touch that dial, because it's right back to the music after this.